Good afternoon. It is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you as usual on a Sunday. With I actually have some cards I've already pulled. I felt very guided to pull some before we started, um, but I've also been getting that I need to share with all of you. So yesterday was my birthday, and thank you to all of you who sent me birthday wishes and a lot of birthday love. And it's like it actually makes my heart happy, is what I'm going to say, to see that people took time out of their day just to say not just happy birthday, but some other words as well. So thank you very much. I'm actually wearing aquamarine. I've got some aquamarine bracelets, a necklace, and some earrings. And aquamarine is my birthstone. I also have, which I haven't put on yet, I bought myself, this year I decided I needed to treat myself. So I bought some aquamarine rings, which I think I've posted, which I haven't put those on yet because I've still been. Yesterday I did not go out and celebrate, but we're going out for like a late lunch, early supper with my younger son. So I bought raw aquamarine. This is raw aquamarine. These are polished, but and then my other son bought me these. I have a beautiful zodiac candle, which I've not seen before, which has crystals in them. And once the candle's burnt down to the bottom, sometimes you get those. So there's 3 crystals in there that I can wear. So I'm going to have lots of crystals to wear this year, which I think is really good. But what came up for me, as you know, it's an anniversary of our birth. It's an anniversary, and also this, and all of you that know that we're in Mercury retrograde. Apparently, I now have a reputation at work for when things go wrong. My first response is this last few weeks has been, well, Mercury's retrograde. And it has been causing a lot of old memories to come up. So it's about bringing all of that to the surface and letting it go. And anniversaries are a good time. So our birth is an anniversary. So I don't think I've shared this story publicly, but for any of you, I don't even know how many people I've shared this with, because but this is a really good example. And the reason I'm going to share it, and I'm going to make it much shorter, is to show how words can affect what people say and what people think, can really paint the picture of your life. Also, I'm very aware that it was a contract that I chose. It was also I chose my mother for a reason, and I will premise this by saying my mother is now in spirit. I have now had several conversations with her where I have been able to understand why that what happened. So I'll start by saying that I was born in 1953, so we were still deemed post-war babies. It was rationing was just ending. My mum was in, I want to say, her early 30s. Extremely superstitious. She came from a very superstitious old wives thing. I was almost 2 weeks late. I actually had a good friend growing up, and I was due on her birthday, and she was 2 weeks early, and I was 2 weeks late, which was always fascinating. We were just like sisters, and sadly, she has been gone for many years. She died before she was 50. But back to, so my mum, highly superstitious, in labour, really did not have, and she probably wouldn't even admit it now, she really didn't understand her body. So all she knew was that certain things happened and you got pregnant. She wasn't quite sure of the mechanics of that, and I'm sure she wasn't even aware about delivery, because back then nobody was educated on that. So she went into labour on Friday the 13th. Now, this is a highly superstitious woman who I'm sure was in a flat panic, and all day. Apparently, it was a very long labour. Maybe she went into labour even, it was Friday the 13th. I'm going to say it was more than 24 hours. Probably she was in labour. And her story was always that, she was pushing and pushing, and they decided to like push down on her belly to get me out. And at that point, she passed out. So she has no memory of what happened after that. I guess there was blood loss, and that's probably why she passed out. But when she woke up, they said, you delivered, the baby's here, the baby's fine. And she said, what's the time? And they said it was 12:30 on Saturday the 14th of March. And she said, oh, thank goodness, my baby was born on March the 14th. Now, if we think about, the more I thought about this when I was younger and as I've got older, I was probably born on Friday the 13th. So from my birth, my mum denied that I was born on Friday the 13th. She didn't understand why she was denying that, but she was just like, absolutely no way was I born on Friday the 13th. Many years later, I went on to discover that women born on Friday the 13th were thought to be and are very powerful women. And my mum, even at my birth, my mum was not happy that I was a girl. She told me that many times. She would be, I was so disappointed that you were a girl, because she wanted a boy, which she got the next time. But she wanted the boy first, again, a superstition. But she didn't realise that what she was denying was me as a very powerful woman. And that sort of set me up in life. I had a mother that did not like women. She had sisters. There were family around us, but there was always arguments with women. Now I'm realising in her life. She was extreme. People used to say she was jealous of me because I think then, as I started to get older, chose to, I'm going to step on this path because I can't deal with all of the, I just couldn't deal with all of the drama. It was, I couldn't be in a room with her for more than a few hours, and she would start saying, don't you remember this happened? And it was very finger pointing, you must remember. And I'd be like, no, I was a kid mom. So I spent all of my life, my father, bless him, he died when he was 60, and they had been married just 25 years. So my mum was young. She was 55 when my dad passed. I went from having, now realising, a verbally abusive mother to a verbally abusive marriage. And I didn't realise that. For the longest time, I thought that's how people spoke to me. I actually started to put up, I'm seeing onion rings, like skins, but from a very young age, I started to build those, you're not going to hurt me, you're not going to hurt me. And I really did not have, for the longest time, on the outside, and I've always been this sort of person that I can put on a good face, I guess is the saying. But inside, I was always self-doubting. I always felt that I was overweight. I had a body image. And I was for a while. I was, it's funny, as I've got older, I've thinned without trying. But in the 70s, I was on a diet constantly, which caused my infertility. So, it can do damage. But it was just, so as I've reflected back on that, I realised a lot of my struggles were around what I heard about myself. And I've been hearing people, and I've certainly been talking to some people just these last 3 or 4 days who are having those self-esteem issues, and down on themselves. And yes, I was there, but now I'm older. So now here I am on the anniversary of my birth, 73 years later. And I can say in the last 3 years is when I've really stepped into my power. I've stepped into the woman that I am, the woman that I'm supposed to be. I've got beautiful guidance from galactic dragons. I have an elder dragon council who hold me to, they're telling me the ethics of being an elder with wisdom, and I have to tell these stories, not because I want you to feel sorry for me. I never tell stories because I tell stories because there's a lesson there. I've always been a storyteller. And again, I used to get into trouble. When I started to turn that around, I can remember back as far as school, I was a talker. And if you know me, I will talk all day. I have many stories. I love sharing my wisdom. But I hadn't embraced that until I realized, as a powerful woman, I can actually say, look, I'm a storyteller. You can either listen or you can walk away. You don't have to listen to my stories, but I have to tell them. This is one of the things that I am here to do. Not only am I here to be an anchor, to hold this energy, and I'm really, really understanding that it's not just being an anchor. It's like those of us that are here to hold the light. I actually said a couple of days ago, oh, is that all they've given me, is to be here to anchor in the light? This is a huge responsibility because we are beacons and we're all holding the light for so many reasons, and they're all personal, and we are in where we are now, we're positioned so that we can do that. We're the beacons. And I posted a couple of days ago, I've been doing a few classes with my friend Amanda from upstate New York, and this week we did some channel drawings, I guess, and I wrote light language, which I haven't written for a while. I wrote, and I know when it's light language because I write from right to left, and usually pretty fast. And if you've seen people writing light language, you don't even know yet. It's like when you see people speaking it, it's the same with your hand. It's very quick. So I did light language all the way around. And then there was these dots, and they were showing me that they wanted me to put all of these. And these were star seeds. And it was like really almost emotional to see this picture, which to some would just be dots. But these were star seeds that are coming in, and if you followed me, you know that I connect with Collective of Dragons. These are incoming star seeds that are looking for us. And they're just showing me. They're like, that's why you're the anchors. That's why you're the light. And these darker blobs were the anchors of light. So the star seeds have guidance. Wow, I just got that. I just got full body chill. So we're guidance. We're like GPS is what I'm hearing. But you know how the obelisks were built because they were beacons and they hold all that sacred light. That's those of us whose job is to hold the light is because we are high frequency beings. It was also explained to me, which was awesome because some of these things I knew already. I am able to channel probably most things. Somebody said once that if I could use a regular deck of cards and give a reading, it's the same thing. I have channeled many beings, galactics. I've ascended masters, people that have passed, who've crossed over, humans who have crossed over. I can, and it's because that is my job. And I'm like, oh, it's all making sense. It's all sort of coming together because I'm deeply grounded in Mother Gaia. And I work with Merlin, and Merlin has a lot to do with this. He's also training a whole group of dragons, which he's saying, oh, they're exhausting. But they're doing fabulous work, which is, again, a whole another thing. But why they wanted me to share about the story of my birth was that was the story I chose. They were the lessons I wanted to learn. I had to learn to love myself for myself. I had to go through those things, through loss, through things not going as I thought they would go. Like I, I was one of the generation that when you got married, you were married for the rest of your life. That didn't happen to me. I had to make choices for safety reasons for my children. I stepped onto a timeline that I had no idea what the outcome was, because if I'd stayed on the other one, I knew exactly what that was going to be, which wouldn't have been a happy one. I chose to work 2 jobs. I chose to work hard because I needed to understand, because now I understand that I have never been to Earth as a starseed. I've never been here. This is all, well, probably some of my temporary lives, but I chose to check out early. But this one was, I needed to learn these lessons. And as I've shared before, when my time comes, I am going home. A portal will open and I am ready to go. They've told me, I think probably 2 years ago, I was told my mission is complete. The mission that I came here is complete. This is bonus time. Make the most of it. But it's still part of the plan of why I'm here. So that's what I wanted to, because I've spoken to, if you're watching this now, you'll know who I'm talking to, but we've had these conversations, whether it's text messages or phone calls or video calls, and it is about believing in yourself. But nobody else can go through this but you. I'm always telling my son that, like, I can do so much. I can do the clearings. I did one for him on Saturday. There was a complete he was doing really well, and then there was a complete change, and I knew that I could do the clearing, but he has to do the work. So, these are the things. This is why I do this weekly, these weekly messages, because things come to me that I need to share, whether it is through a story, whether it's because it's like, oh, yes, talk about that, whether it's the oracle cards that I pull, or whether it's channeled messages. This is because this is what my job is. My job in this, to be here on Earth, I was going to say the universe, but it's to be here on Earth right now at this time. Those of us that came here to do a very important job. And if you're watching me, there's a reason, because you need to hear this. So remember that you are important. You are loved. I spent many years not understanding when people will say, oh, you're loved. Oh, there's nothing but love. But we're never, ever alone. There's always a loved one around us, an angel, an archangel, a dragon, pets. I mean, all of our pets that we've lost come back to visit. I often have something jumping on my bed, which I know was one of my dogs that used to love to sleep in the crook of when I used to roll over, would sleep there. They come back to visit. When we see our animals that we have now, sometimes running away or sometimes playing, they are, because they're seeing our pets. So we have visitors. Most of us can't see them. Some of us can, and it's all about vibration. But we're not alone, and we just have to ask. And I think I've said this ad nauseum all week to people, is you just have to ask. You even asked, who is there? I would say even, I started by doing automatic writing. I even tried doing it with my left hand, which wasn't very successful. But, if you sit down with a pen, you only have to sit down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day with a pen and paper and wait. and see, or sometimes just start writing, say, I'll write a question. As you're writing, you'll find the answer will start flowing. And Merlin gets excited when I talk about this, because he feels that we need the pen in our hand because of the energy. He says it comes from our heart. Well, it also comes from our brain, but it comes from our heart, and it comes into our arm, down our hand, into the pen or the quill, as he will say. He's always showing me the beautiful feathered quill. Dip it in the ink and write. And as we write, it is energy that's flowing, right? So everything's energy. And he, even though he says, well, you use that machine, but it's better to write. Now, unfortunately, my hands have really been giving me issues these last couple of weeks. So writing is actually painful. Using my hands has been painful. I think, having said that, I bought a few things for myself for my birthday. I've got paraffin wax that I bought last week to dip my hands in, because that helps with the heat. I also yesterday decided I needed a neck massager, so I bought myself. Thankfully, it was on sale on Amazon. Isn't everything? So this morning at like 6 o'clock, Amazon delivered me the heated neck massager. So I didn't want to get out of bed. You can only do it for 15 minutes. And I'm like, can I do it again? I also had a massage. So I had my regular monthly massage. And then I went and treated myself to a pedicure. So I really have had a weekend of celebrating me. Because, I've got two wonderful kids that live at home with me. They're adults. I don't need anything. They buy me interesting gifts, or like my son will ask me, what do you want? And I'll say, just get me a little something. I still like to be surprised still. Who doesn't? That's always been my thing, that it's fine saying, oh, buy me this, but it doesn't feel the same. Even some flowers. And I also bought flowers. So I was really I need to celebrate me. So I also had a pedicure, a massage. I stopped and bought some flowers for myself. And actually, my son also bought me some on Saturday morning. I cooked myself breakfast on Saturday morning. And I'm like, if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And I think that is self-love. That is saying, I also, so this is a checklist, right? So I also took 2 days off work. I was feeling drained. I wasn't tired. I felt very drained. I felt drained by work. I felt drained by everything that was going on, and it's all to do with Mercury. Just everything was making me feel drained. And I'm like, I'm just going to take 2 days off for me. I did an SRT session for somebody, which was practice for me, and a great conversation with the medium, who also works in Merlin. So that was a beautiful conversation. And just like celebrating who I am. So I wanted you to know, even though my life, for the most part, for some people was a difficult life. I didn't come from, my parents didn't have money. We struggled. We lived in rented apartment for many years until my grandparents died, and then my dad moved into the house. We heard no a lot growing up, and that was okay as well. I married, and because I didn't have children for nearly 12 years in my marriage, we had money, we had property. That all went away when I got divorced. And I would have been living a completely different life. I wouldn't even be recognizable, because I wouldn't have really understood. Even though I'm a Pisces, I would probably find some way. But I would be, probably a bored, retired person. Do I want that? Sometimes, of course I do. But otherwise, I'm making a contribution, and that's what I came here to do. So these were all lessons, and here I am, and I'm going to enjoy this next year around the sun, and I know it's going to bring some new things, which I'm excited about, and see me stepping in maybe a different direction. So that was what I was guided to tell you. So then I actually had my dragon card that I pulled, which was the Dragon's Flight. Oh, look, I've talked for 25 minutes. The Dragon's Flight. It's time to fly high above the situation and see from all new perspectives the big picture. Didn't I just say that? What lies above and beyond and below will now become clear to you. Shift your focus. So all of what I've just said is in this card. Didn't even look at it. What I've been doing is I've been pulling like 7 cards on Sunday from this little deck. So they're my theme for the week when I post on my Facebook page. So there's a theme here. So I pulled, again, I wanted to see what the collective message was. And I use, I can never remember this, the Sacred Soul Shadow Oracle. So the first one was resistance. Holding on to old beliefs and refusing to adapt can hinder personal growth. I pulled these before I even talked to you. So there's the Knight with the Sword. So this is about holding on to old beliefs, which will cause resistance. There's a lot of resistance in the collective. I don't need to explain all that to you. I'm sure most of you that are catching this are probably feeling the resistance to step in the right direction, is all I'm going to say about that. But also for us, we need to let go of old beliefs. I just said to somebody yesterday, the past is the past. You can't go back and fix it. You can only move forward. So holding on to old beliefs and refusing to adapt can hinder personal growth. The atmosphere is feeling unsettled. There's the deer running for their life. Look before you leap from thing to thing without making real commitments. Goes along with the resistance and old patterns. We get stuck in our old ways, our old way of thinking. It feels safe, but it isn't. We have to move on. And then no discipline, challenging to stay focused, motivated, and take action, leading to feeling stuck. So if you don't, I love that feather. Oftentimes people see feathers and it's a message from the angels. Challenging. So with no discipline, it's hard to stay focused and motivated. So take action, which will stop you from feeling stuck. So that's the collective. I don't know of portals. Where are we? Oh, I don't think St. Patrick's Day is, that's Tuesday. I can't believe we're in the 3rd week of March. This year is going to be like flyby. This one just flew out, and there's one already here. And there was one I already pulled. Oh, so it's safe for you to shine. It's okay to feel what you need to feel. And what was the word I used? I am filled by love. So this is going to be right in the middle of this week's cards. I don't even know why I did that. I just went by what I was guided. So I've got these here and I'm going to read across here. So these were from Raise Your Vibration. These are Kyle Gray's Raise Your Vibration. I may use them this week. I feel like we need these. what is the other one I'm using? It's the Gateway of Light. That's raise your vibration. So let's do the gate. So I've got the Stellar Gateway activation, infinite potential, manifestation vortex. So rather than a portal, we have a vortex opening this week. And it is going to open to infinite potential. Now here's the pyramids, and we know that pyramids, actually you can't see this, but this energy, can you see there, coming right out of the top of the pyramids, and we know they were, so here I am saying we're beacons. These were, we think, or know, that these were for, and what were they saying to me? Interstellar travelers. Oh, because it's the Stellar Gateway. So interstellar, this is what I'm hearing. This is the message I'm getting. These were guidance for interstellar travel, which is going between gateways. That's what they're showing me. I can't make this up. I get so excited when I get these confirmations because it's just cool. So let's see what other things are happening this week. I am presence. I think this one. Oh, and Central Sun. Interesting, because these are two very bright lights. So this is I am presence, light body activation, accessing the divine within. So I see this light. I have to actually, if I do that, you can see how it blinds you, and then isn't that interesting? I actually see a person in there, and that is you. As they're telling me, they're saying what you see in there. I actually see almost like an angel. So this is my new thing. No, they're saying it's just I'm waking up to. It's not new for me, but it's new if you don't know this. I am able, like this is a stellar gateway, I am able to get messages from what beings are presenting. Now this is the I am presence, so they're saying this is actually you, but I can actually see an angel there. So maybe that's my image today, is I am an angel. If you're interested in finding out more or want to see me doing this, or you want to have a reading, Dina and I are putting on an event on, I want to say it's 1, 2, 3, Friday, April 3rd. We are doing a joint. She is going to be painting her glyphs, and I will be doing channeled readings. So if you're interested, it's on my Facebook page. I will post it again today. I'll keep posting it so it goes up. It's $50. It will be probably a couple of hours, depending on how many people join us. But you will get at least 10-15 minute reading and the glyph, whatever Dina draws for you. And there's the Central Sun. And of course there's the beautiful honey bee is what I'm seeing. Abundant downloads, regeneration and success. Again, wings. Wings are what I'm seeing. So wings. And then we've got the goddess card. So Ishtar actually came. Love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy. So remembering to say no. You don't have to say yes all the time, right? There has to be a limit to how much. And that doesn't, and oftentimes what I've found is I'm a people pleaser, and I always have been, but I've had to learn to say no or to walk away from things. I think I mentioned at the end of last year that I have said no, more no's last year, or walked away from people, places, and things. Oh, Bassett, independent. This is all about this powerful woman right here. So independent. Your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. Oh, I like that. That's and this is, oh, Diana, focused intention. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target, and you will make your mark. So there is Diana with her bow and arrow. I also, and I can't remember, like the weeks all blend in, but I also got a beautiful channel, it may have been last weekend, a beautiful channeled message from Saint Dymphany, who is the patron saint of mental illness, of mental health workers, of all sorts of young children who have been sexually assaulted, of sexual assault victims, but mainly the mentally ill. And she gave me some guidance on how she's going to work with me as I step into SRT. So these last ones are angels and auras, divine self, intuition, balance, and connection. And again, wings. Right? We've got wings, wings, wings. And independent women. I love it. Feathers and wings. Wow. So these are the last two cards for this week. And even if you're a man watching this, I know a lot of my audience is female, but this can be your divine feminine balancing out, because what happens for a lot of us is our... Oh, I like that one. I don't even know why I turned. I usually don't look at the card on the bottom. Look at this. The power of prayer. Oh, it actually brings tears to my eyes when I see that. Surrender, belief, affirm, and release. And blessings in disguise. Trust, revelation, significance, and surprise. So I think that's because it was my birthday. It's still, I think we've got another week of Pisces. Thankfully, next Friday, Mercury will not be retrograde. So we've just got another 6 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of Mercury retrograde. So I think that it's been an interesting reading. For me, this was a pretty powerful reading. And what I get out of it, rather than going over all of this, is a lot about, well, there are wings and feathers, is what I'm going to say. There's a lot of wings and feathers, a lot of standing in our power, the power of prayer, and being filled with love. And I think I'm going to end on that, because I think that, for me, this is a beautiful message to take forward into the upcoming work week. It's a beautiful message for me to take into my next year of my journey around the sun. And I'm just feeling very humbled and very blessed. And people say that. I don't very often say, oh, I'm so blessed. But there's just this just overwhelming feeling. This particular card, and I'm going to sit with this because I'm not quite sure why, it made me feel so emotional. I'm not a religious person, so It's not like, it's not that I don't believe in the power of prayer. It just hit here when I pulled it. So I'm going to sit with that. If it feels right for you to sit with that as well. It may be, if you go to church, but I've always believed you can pray wherever you are. And I believe in a higher power. So I'm going to take a picture of these. I will post them with this as it goes up on YouTube. Again, I want to thank, I've had quite a few people join my Facebook group this week. Thank you very much. If you've found me on YouTube, you can check out my website, which is www.eastcoastdragonlady. You can also email me at eastcoastdragonlady.com. I do a 45-minute clarity call, which is free. And I'm not even sure what services I'm going to offer next year. My current ones are up. It's also on my Facebook page. But that may change as well as things start to shift in the direction that I'm hoping it's going in. So maybe what I'm offering. But I'm always here. I love talking about dragons. Any of you have connected with me, my dragons love me sharing about them. I'm actually going to be writing a chapter in a upcoming joint book with 25 other authors, all about dragons. I've also posted about that as well. That is going to be a very interesting project. I haven't even started writing. They keep telling me what I should write about, but because I have something coming up at the end of the month, I have decided that I can't be too scattered. I have to just focus on one thing. Once that's done, and I can then turn over the page and move on, I can write my chapter. I'm looking forward to it. I sort of know what I'm going to write. I just have to, but because there's some other things involved in what I'm doing for SRT, which is Spirit Release Therapy, I actually have, it's 2 more weeks before I take before I get my certification. I have to do a live SRT session and then write it and submit it. I've already written my essay. I wrote that very early on. I just need to tweak it, but I need to keep my focus on that. I also purposely chose not to do that until after Mercury was retrograde, because Mercury usually kicks my butt, and I was like, I can't do it when Mercury's in retrograde. So I could have done it a few weeks ago, but I put it off till the end of the month. And that has really helped me to stay clear and focused. Otherwise, I feel, and as I've got older, I don't like to feel too scattered. I can multitask like everybody. I was going to say I can multitask up the wazoo. That's what I was going to say. I can, but then I feel like I'm all over the place. So one thing at a time, finish that, move on. Well, I won't be finished. I'll just be moving on to other things. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you again for, if you've caught this today, thank you. Last week, I think I was almost at 200 views. So please, please, please share with your friends. If you're new to catching me, please subscribe. It just helps with the algorithms. I can't figure out the algorithms, don't even want to. But I mean, some weeks it'd be 8 people and then it was almost 200. So the more you share, the more you tell people about, I'm the East Coast Dragon Lady, I'm the storyteller about dragons, and it's real talk. That's probably what I'm going to say. This is real talk. That sounds like a podcast, doesn't it? Maybe I need to think about that as well. I used to do them, as you know, I used to do Dragon Hour, but maybe real talk about dragons. Oh, now I've given myself something to think about. So have a good week. If anything pops up, I'll be back on. Otherwise, I'll be back at the weekend. Have a good one.